Good afternoon. My name is Brad Paddock, the CEO of CeQur. I'm really excited to share with you our product and technology. It's not every day that you get to talk about something that will impact millions of people around the world. If you know the diabetes space, you're familiar with CGM, continuous glucose monitoring, and you know what that has done to diabetes. So for patients that have had to prick their finger multiple times a day, they can now wear a really tiny device on their shoulder and see their glucose readings all the time. Similarly, CeQur has developed a product that will allow patients to dose insulin in an incredibly convenient and simple manner, and really taking the burden of multiple daily injections out of your life. So for patients today that are taking insulin, they have to take it at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it's a huge burden on their life. And this little device here is called CeQur Simplicity. It's a very thin, very small patch. It's worn on the abdomen, and by simply pressing these two buttons on the side of the device, you're able to deliver insulin into your body. Our vision and mission is very simple. We want to simplify the lives of people with diabetes, and we're doing that through revolutionizing insulin delivery. So this is the product as I shared with you. So it holds 3 days worth of insulin. Every click is 2 units of insulin. It has a very small flexible catheter that's under the skin. It's a very low profile, and it can be, when you wear it, you don't even know that it's there. It sort of disappears on your body. You can shower, swim, and go through your normal daily activities with it. And of course, you're not having to inject. Interestingly, 2 out of 3 people with diabetes are not in glycemic control. So it's a huge number. And that means that their A1Cs are too high, and those patients will often lead to stroke, heart disease, and all the complications associated with diabetes. So why is that? It really comes down to the fact that people don't take their insulin when they're supposed to, and life gets in the way. People don't want to dose their insulin outside of the home. They forget, they skip doses. And if you can imagine, if you're an active individual and you're out to lunch or out to dinner, to dose your insulin, you have to take your little packet of insulin supplies, find a bathroom. It's oftentimes not sanitary. You've got to swab your skin and inject insulin, and it's a real hassle. It sort of gets in the way. And you have to do that 3 times a day, or sometimes more times a day if you need correction doses. So it's a very difficult disease to manage, and unfortunately, most people don't do what it takes because it's incredibly inconvenient to do so. So we're changing all that with our product. We're making it incredibly convenient and easy to dose insulin. And it's, you think about how difficult it is for patients to be compliant with oral medications. Just imagine what it's like when you have to be compliant with injecting yourself multiple times a day. So it's the convenience that leads to compliance that ultimately leads to clinical value for the patient. CeQur Simplicity has been studied in hundreds of patients, including one of the largest clinical trials ever done in diabetes. And of course, you see a huge reduction in A1C. You also see a huge increase in time and range. This is the time that your insulin is actually in a appropriate range throughout a 24-hour period. This shouldn't be a surprise because we know that insulin works. But if you take insulin when you're supposed to, then of course it works and it modulates the sugar in your body. We have a huge market opportunity. So there are 3 million people alone in the US that are on multiple daily injections, and they're injecting with a pen or a syringe today. A very small segment of that in the type 1 space is using pumps, but the vast majority of people are using pens and syringes today. And that's been the case now literally for decades. Diabetes is unfortunately a growing epidemic around the world. In the US, 1 in 10 Americans have diabetes. So it's likely that at some point in the future, someone in your family or somebody you know will be a candidate for this product. I'd like you now to hear from one of our earliest users of the product.
the conversation was how it worked. She explained to me that it was much more simplified. The other one that I'd used before had its own handheld device, and I had to make sure it was all programmed right and in the right percentage in it, place and everything like that. And it just added to the stuff I had to carry with me instead of reducing what I had to carry with me. And when she showed me this, I got real excited because it's small. It's just manually pumps. I'm ecstatic about it because it's got my blood sugar better controlled than probably even before I became diabetic, because it's easy to use. It's so simple. CeQur simplicity allows me to get rid of that tether that I have with my pouch that has all of my insulin and everything. Another thing that I enjoy is going to visit friends and hanging out with them and playing cards and doing all those kind of things. Well, I don't have to pause everything. I got to take this, and go into the next room. And all I got to do is reach down on the patch, click it a few times. My insulin's taken care of. There's no injections. There's no soreness. All of those things are taken care of. So it really does revolutionize the way that I take my insulin. And as a result, it's kind of more fun to take my insulin. I went from almost an 11 A1C all the way down to a 6.8 average A1C as a result of it. And it blew her mind. And she said, "What are you doing different?" I says, "I'm doing my insulin the way I'm supposed to." As a result, she has started to get more and more people on this CeQur simplicity because she sees how well it is changing my life. I would tell anybody that I know that has diabetes that they need to get with their healthcare practitioner and find out how they can get the CeQur simplicity, because it does simplify life. It allows me to have 3 days worth of insulin in a very convenient and easy place. Because it's successful with me, I'm hard-headed, I don't follow directions, I'm not well disciplined, and if it can change me, it can change anybody.
So it's been really fun launching this product. We began a pilot launch in August of last year. We've got about 150 patients on the product to date. And the feedback from patients, from providers, has really been overwhelming. In fact, since August, as we began onboarding patients, over 90% of all the patients that have gone on the product have stayed on the product. So it's a pretty incredible retention rate. I believe it's unprecedented in the diabetes space. The product is sold exclusively through the pharmacy channel, and to date, over 90% of the prescriptions written have been covered by insurance companies. And it's a very simple reason why. Payers understand the problem. They understand that people are not dosing insulin when they're supposed to. They recognize the problem, and they appreciate the solution that we're bringing in a very simple, relatively inexpensive way. And so we're excited that they recognize that, and they're in fact willing to pay for it. The company closed a $115 million Series D equity financing in April of this year. So we're well financed for the next couple of years. We'll be using those funds to scale up our manufacturing and build out our commercial organization to bring this wonderful technology across the country. So thank you so much for your time, and happy to answer questions in the session afterwards. Thank you.